Captain Major Christopher Pennell, G37 5th Corps Exercise Planner. Yes, so Avenger Triad 25 has been in planning for over a year at this point. It was designed initially as its own event with the MICLIC, which is being filled by USARAF as the primary training audience, and Corps and theater enablers below the MICLIC being secondary training audiences. About halfway through, it was redesigned to nest with Steadfast Dual, and that's how we've executed with a very large exercise across multiple JOAs, with Avenger Triad being the center JOA for the JFC Brunson Steadfast Dual designed event. At the end of the day, everybody is pulling their training objectives out of what their unit is designed to execute. But every staff is trying to exercise across all warfighting functions. We're bringing all of these units together, multinational, US, Compo 1, 2, and 3, and each of them are trying to get a robust training environment that they can exercise their staff across all the warfighting functions. So lots of the units will have different specific things that they're looking for, but ultimately this is about all of the staffs getting to exercise as much of their personnel and planning processes as possible.
Of course.
So we are executing 24-hour operations here. From the ex-con perspective, ex-con is responsible for managing the response cells and participants that are here at Grafenwehr training area. The 5th Corps staff, who's my training audience that I specifically helped plan for, is actually participating out of their headquarters in Poznan and their headquarters in Fort Knox, Kentucky. But we have multiple enablers that have come here to participate in the exercise as response cells. Those response cells are participating as if they would be a subordinate staff or unit on the battlefield, and they are part of what is telling the story to the 5th Corps staff. At the end of the day, the exercise is invisible to the 5th Corps staff as long as those response cells are given enough guidance about the events they're supposed to participate in, the reports that they need to provide, and that's what we're doing here. Ex-con specifically helps make sure that those response cells know what the story we're trying to tell at this planning event is. With so many people trying to train, we're trying to keep everything on track and make sure that people have the answers they need, but that they also don't provide more than they would be able to in the real life if this were a real operation. So injects are specifically by warfighting function, and they've usually been designed to target particular staff sections. In a general concept, the simulation that we've employed here supports the maneuver warfighting function best. But there are lots of enablers here that are doing non-lethal targeting, looking at reactions to chemical events, chemical attacks, CBRN events, and then sustainment, personnel. There are a lot of issues that the simulation does not provide enough detail to actually test a staff at our level. You know, our staffs are hundreds of people. I think we probably have over 1,500 staff participants here. And to provide the detail necessary to make them stressed over all warfighting functions is why we developed those injects. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think we've had at least 60 injects specific to Avenger Triad a day, and in some instances perhaps much, much more. And those have been designed to give those problem sets that the simulation cannot provide enough detail to test the staff with. We attempt to incorporate them with all of their systems and staff as we would in the real world. That's kind of the starting position, is whatever we would execute if we had to do an operation today is as much what we're attempting to support during a planning event. In the planning events, we do ultimately end up with some some support that might be necessary to bring some of those warfighting functions capacities a little better. But for most of our multinational partners, there have been many exercises in Europe that have been designed to test and integrate them with US units. And at this point, we are really just stressing those systems, and that would be the C2 warfighting function, the communications, and the networks that we actually plan to use. At the end of the day, this was a NATO exercise. When we nested Avenger Triad with Steadfast Dual, that came with heavy multinational participation, and 5th Corps also being a staff leading multinational units in this exercise. We were specifically the headquarters for 10th Panzer and for a portion of the exercise 18th Mech Division from Poland. But we have participants here from all over the place. We have the 2nd Polish Corps, NRDC Spain, Rapid Reaction Corps France. We have the ARC from the UK, 5th Corps, 1st GNC, and Multinational Corps Northeast. And just in all those acronyms, you can hear all the multinational participants that are here. I think there are less countries that are not participating than actually are in this event. And that has been the design from the beginning. The networks that we've used, the systems that we're incorporating, were specifically to enable as much interoperability and the ability to work together as possible. This is a staff training event, and bringing this many people together, just the ability to get all of them to go in the same direction is ultimately a difficult task. At the staff training level, we have presented all of the real-world problem sets of this many units and this many partners, this many nations, this many compos, all of them integrating together. That problem set is a real-world and daily problem set. We have only added the flavor of an operation in the background and provided the problems across all warfighting functions that would occur in an operation. But at the end of the day, this was about staff training and getting all of these people to work together. Absolutely. This is the CPX-2 for 5th Corps along its road to warfighter. In early 2026, we'll execute a CPX-3 and our warfighter itself. Most of the units participating in this event are the same units that will participate with us there. The opportunity to execute a full battle rhythm, to establish what our meetings look like, and even building the interpersonal relationships between the staff will ultimately be very valuable. And some of these relationships are intended to be enduring. So this was the opportunity to truly integrate from the USARAF level, performing as the MICLIC, through 5th Corps, all the way down to subordinate divisions and enablers.